So the question is, how does a house cleansing work? Do you have spirits or weird energies or freaking cognitive dissonance in your house, in your mental space, whatever? Like, you got to get rid of that stuff because it's just unhelpful. So, how does it work when you're going to do a house cleansing or a personal cleansing in general? Okay. So, there's two things that you have to do, just like I talked before about the two different, you know, types of magical workings: divination and spell work, input and output. First, you have to have the right input. So, you have an idea that there might be some weird juju going on. So, you go to the place and you divine. The cool thing is that what you can use is sage to divine and purify at the same time. Now, there are hundreds of species of sage. Specifically, what we're referring to is white sage. The correct herbological name for it, or what do you say, phytocultural name for it, is Salvia apiana. So you get white sage and you light it. Okay. So if there's more energy that needs to be worked in a particular area, it's going to smoke more. So there's your divination. You know, okay, what are the hot spots for whatever it is that's going on? Um, the really awesome thing about root work, sorry, my hoodoo is showing a little bit, but um, root work is just a reference to magical herb work in the tradition of hoodoo. So, um, so when you're working in that way, you have the healing benefits and the magical benefits together. So there's actually antioxidants that do things like improve brain function while you're doing it. So that's why you get the effect of your mental space being more clear after using sage. Um, you don't just have to use a sage smudge. You can use other smudges as well, which I can talk about that later. Or so you get your sage, light it up, boom, it starts smoking in a particular area, pretty heavy. So you just stay in that area while it does its work, and you continue around the structure and find out, well, what's doing what. If the sage goes all the way out, that's that definitely means that you're done and you can move to another section. Some workers say that you can't relight sage because it does XYZ. There's no reason for me personally, in my experience, to think that there's a problem with relighting your sage. They say, like, the sage is done working, when it goes out, and there may be some truth to that, but the function that you're trying to do primarily is you're doing divination work through the smoke, trying to find out where the most energetic, spiritual, psychological activity is, and what you can do to to remedy that when it comes to proper spell work. And I say proper spell work, not that this is improper. It's just that it's not only spell work, because you're going to do your spell work later in order to make sure that everything is gone, if that makes sense. So you go throughout the structure with your sage. Once you get an idea of what all is going on, then you can do your spell working. There's all kinds of things that you can do. One of the things that I like to do that works really well is Kujiin, Kujiin magic. So you'll see different hand symbols that you might recognize in Hinduism or like tantric Buddhism or something like that. And a lot of the guys in like the Bujinkan and other old sort of ninjutsu derived martial arts, you'll see them use Kujiin as well. And I'll do a video on that. But that's something that works really well. And I have Sanskrit mantras that I use to go with it. I have some Japanese stuff that I use to go with it. And it's actually a Taoist magic. So there's also classical Chinese that goes into it as well. But there's all kinds of different, work that you can do in that way. It's just that with that particular method, I don't have to use a really long ritual in order to get the work done. Um, and so using a combination of that and Reiki is how I do it myself. Um, Again, very, 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 very effective and pretty quick actually. Once I understand what all is going on from the divination and everything. My partner in Ocean Moon Coven, Karma Rose, she's really good with sensing those kinds of things. She has the three main clair senses. I actually have a different one called claircognizance. But for a situation like that, her skills are better to find those sorts of things, if that makes sense. Any questions you have, down below, if you want to learn something more, or you want me to talk about something different, please, please, please leave comments. If you dig the gear, myspiritualswag.com. It's always up and ready for you to order. Chaos gear. I've got some stuff for nature witches, and I just want us to be able to represent magic culture, man, magic and spirituality. Peace.